So, it's official. It took less than 72 hours for Donald Trump's grand cinematic naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz to disintegrate into a humiliating international embarrassment.
Shabbat Shalom. Call hello Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Hashem Hakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops, a great millstone, even the elders that came before them that taught us the truth. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that pushing the word of truth and sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, and the elder Yahshua. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to you all. Let's talk about the war. But I want to point out real quick that there are two parts to this war. So I quickly want to touch on both of them. And this is not the World War III Daily Update. This is just riffing on the time that we're in. Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. There's a time and a season for everything under the sun. We're in the time and the season of war, and you know what else? Having great anger for your enemy, great dislike. Second Ezra 13. There are two parts to this war. Okay, this is the last war, but there are two parts to it. Okay. This is Second Ezra's. I'm going to start at 29. Second Ezra 13:29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. Okay, now here's the part. Here's World War III, and it has two parts. Here's the first part. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people. Okay, now you got, this is men fighting against men, people against another, and here's the second part, one realm. Okay, so we're dealing with third and fourth dimension. Okay, now we went from people to different forms of life and intelligence, if you will. We're talking about the angels coming from the fourth dimension into the third to fight a war, right? That's already going on. The war in heaven. It's going to take place right here in our atmosphere. When it says the war in heaven, it's talking about our atmosphere, where we'll be able to see it, where you can see it right now. Okay? Do we have to prove that? Let's prove it. Here's how you prove it. UAP, UFO, eats. Eats what? Eats Hellfire missile. What's that? What is UAP? UFO eats Hellfire missile. This is proof of the war in heaven. Okay? That's what that is. It's proof of the war in heaven. Okay? Hellfire missile bouncing off UFO. What's this? This is the war in heaven in real time. Okay? That's what it is. Period. A Reaper drone fires on a chariot of the Lord and it bounces off. That is the war in heaven. Let's get it. Salakia. Revelation 12 and 7. Let's get straight to it. right here. Where's Newhart? There's Newhart. So that you can understand it. There was war in the sky, in our atmosphere. There was war in the sky, in our atmosphere. Michael and his angels were in something that you would call a UFO. Okay, and the dragon and his angels, or his blue angels, are these fighter jets. They have their own chariots, things of that nature. So you tell me what this is right here. Okay? Tell me what this is. This is the war in the sky, proof, okay, of what I just explained. These are the angels, okay, involved in this war. Where are they at?
Don't let your vacation rental.
They're in the war in Yemen, whatever you want to call it. You understand? Where is that? It's the war zone. Is not Yemen firing missiles right now?
A newly released video captured by a U.S. Reaper drone shows a glowing orb off the coast of Yemen.
Off the coast of what? In the war. October 30th. The war's been going on, and this is the war in heaven. So when I go back over here and say, well, there's two parts to this war. Okay? One people against another, and one realm. There it is. One realm against another. There it is. We can prove it. There it is. Glowing orb, taking on fire and repelling it. Haven't started shooting back yet. Okay? That's what that is. What is a Hellfire missile? Well, that's the United States military fighting against somebody. Who are they fighting against? Well, here we are. One realm again. We're reading it right out of the scriptures. It's so easy. Let's get it over here. Verse 19. See what the hell is going on. Salakia. Let's read it in the BSB, whatever that is. Berean Standard, yeah? Revelation 19 and 19. Then I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth with their armies assembled to wage war against the one seated on the horse. The horse is that chariot, that UFO, and against his army. His army are the angels of heaven, the holy hosts, the army. The armies of heaven, dressed in fine linen, white and pure. That's those UFOs. Right here, and they're firing on them. Right here in our atmosphere, right off the coast of Yemen, right there. Okay, so now that we understand that, now let's go back and figure out what the hell is. See, what you have to understand, what's going on over here? The angels are conducting this war. And they ain't going to let it get out of hand. They're not going to allow nukes to go off right now. And they ain't going to let one side get the upper hand on the other side that ain't supposed to win. That's what the hell is going on over there. All right, so keep that in mind as we watch this. I'm going to start it again from the top.
So, it's official. It took less than 72 hours for Donald Trump's grand cinematic naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz to disintegrate into a humiliating international embarrassment. As of this moment, we are witnessing not the long arm of American naval supremacy, but a paper tiger flailing in the water,
Let's update you on what is happening right now in the Strait of Hormuz with the latest ship tracking data that's been analysed by BBC Verify, showing that 4 Iran-linked tankers have crossed the strait despite Washington's naval blockade. The US blockade in the strait seems to be on shaky ground, with reports 4 Iran-linked ships have passed through the stretch of water within the first 24 hours since it began. Major challenge to US.
So what do you see? You see World War III. See, because China has to come in now because of this. Whatever's going on over here, right? Let me let it play out a little bit.
Power in the Gulf is now unfolding. A sanctioned Iranian supertanker has sailed straight through the Strait of Hormuz. No interception, no concealment.
While Iranian cargo ships, some of them sanctioned supertankers the size of small cities, cruise right past American warships with their transponders blazing. They aren't even trying to hide. They are basically sending the White House a postcard from the open sea that reads, "Wish you were here and actually capable of stopping us." This is the backdrop against which Tehran has delivered its definitive answer to the extension of the fragile 2-week ceasefire brokered by Pakistan. A hard, uncompromising no. Unless the war is permanently ended, unless the criminal Benjamin Netanyahu is muzzled in Lebanon, and unless Washington stops playing these pathetic games of bomb and pause, the guns will not fall silent. And why should they? Barely 24 hours after reports confirmed that Iranian shipping had bypassed the so-called impenetrable American cordon without so much as a radio challenge, we learned that the U.S. Treasury, in a fit of desperate bureaucratic fury, is unleashing what they are embarrassingly calling economic fury. New sanctions designed to starve the Iranian people.
Fury. That name Fury attaches to the other operation, the military operation. Okay, remember that.
At the same moment, we saw a coordinated, cowardly sabotage operation on Siri Island, decimating oil production capacity.
Very important. They went and did a strike on their oil. Okay? Very important. This is right now. So, that side of the war, there's 2 parts to this war, right? This side is ramping up into World War III. What else is going on? What else do you see? All right. America knows and is counting this as a loss. They're moving forward, but they have to destroy that area, right, to try to come out on the other side and try to maintain some sort of hegemony, which everything is about to go to shit, and I'm going to show you why. Hold on.
It is an open secret that this was the work of the American-backed axis of aggression in the Gulf, a cowardly stab in the back while the ink on a peace proposal was still wet. Yet, in the face of this, Iran's skies over Tehran roared with the formation of fighter jets that, according to the bankrupt intelligence of Donald Trump, shouldn't even exist anymore. You remember that, right? The billions in taxpayer dollars spent on bombing paintings and finance.
Yeah. So they're involved. They're engaged in that part of the war, right? Well, what else is going on? I did a lesson on this yesterday. 10th UFO technology expert goes missing. There's 2 parts to this war, and this is the other part, UFO. This is trending right now. What is this? Isn't this the other part of this war that's going on that they don't want you to know about? Okay? One realm against another. Okay? What is this? Who's flying up upon it? Up. He flew, but 2nd Ezra 13:6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, shall be coming around a mountain, and flew up. This word is very important. Flew up upon. He flew up upon it. Very important. Okay? What is this mountain? This mountain was huge, but it was up, and somebody was piloting it in the sky. This mountain wasn't part of the rest of the mountain range. This was different, this mountain. This mountain was a chariot. And the pilot, right, had that thing moving in the sky. Okay? And it had weapons on it, right? Blast of fire. This thing was incredible. Okay? So that's part of World War III. All right? And World War III has started. They're leaving this part out. Okay? Why are they using hellfires on this orb in the theater of war? Because that's part of the war. You got to understand that. Of course, those were drones, and America has its drones, and da 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 da. No, this is part of what's going on. Okay. So understand that there's two parts to this war, right? And this part. This part, right, is in effect.
Folks, it's happened again. It's 0 days since a UFO expert or scientist has gone missing or died suspiciously. We've got another one, people. They're saying that this is actually the 10th scientist with connections to unidentified flying object.
There's a war going on. Why wouldn't scientists who know things about this side, right, whatever you want to call it, the Axis, right, or the Allied, right, why wouldn't they be dying or taken prisoner of war or whatever, right? There's a war going on, and this is part of it.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon, UFOs, UAPs, all of that kind of stuff. Them aliens. They're saying that this is
alien activity is out there strong right now. Why? Because this is what's part. See, first of all, who's conducting this war? Well, the Most High is. And somebody's calling the Most High an alien. And his son. And the angels. They're calling them aliens. Okay? That's part of this. Part of your reality is aliens, God. Everybody knows about God, but when this devil, so-called white man, these Edomites, when they say alien, they're talking about God, the one and only true God who don't like them, created them to be the vermin that they are. Here's what's going on, whether you accept or reject it. All right, this is just the bare bones of what's going on.
All right. Person that has gone missing. So this is him. It's Stephen Abel Garcia. Okay, it says he was last seen on August the 28th, 2025 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A lot of these guys going missing.
Stephen Abel might be a Jake, and he might be in tune to what's going on. He might have even heard us and be like, "Oh shit, I know what's going on. Hell, I'm finna fight against the angel. I gotta make it noise it abroad."
From New Mexico, there's a lot of space-based installations down there. So he's gone missing. They don't know where he is. There's a hotline number there if anyone's seen him.
Okay, so there's a fight going on. I'm not trying to say what happened to these people. What I'm saying is this directly ties into the war at large. Okay, so let me get past this. Yeah, so the war at large is moving forward, but nobody's telling you that the angels are out there deflecting, stopping shit, stopping nukes from going on.
Plywood decoys, while the real Iranian Air Force was safely tucked away underground, laughing at the sheer stupidity of the Pentagon. It is a moment of pure, unadulterated strategic farce, and the punchline is that America's military might have been exposed as a hollow, blustering fraud. Listen, before we get into the granular high-stakes details of how Tehran is redrawing the map of Middle Eastern power, I need you to do something for me. 2. but multiple Iranian-linked vessels, including a massive, very large crude carrier capable of hauling 2 million barrels of oil, passing through the strait without any concealment. They didn't use the dark fleet tactics. They didn't turn off their AIS transponders, as Shinte says. They sailed through as if the U.S. Navy wasn't there, or more accurately, because the U.S. Navy is paralyzed by the knowledge of what awaits them if they...
As if the U.S. Navy wasn't there. Could cloaking be involved? See, you have to understand, right, what's going on. Here's what's going on from the top. The four winds of the earth should not blow upon, should not blow upon the earth nor on the sea. Here's what's going on. Okay. Revelation 7:1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind, these nuclear missiles, should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor any tree, till what? Slovakia. What is it, 2? Slovakia. That's a different one. Let me see. All right. See, so these 4 angels, right? What are these angels? They're these UFOs. So when, right? When you see this, okay, or when you hear a story, right, that happened when Bibi sends a nuke to be dropped on Iran, right? And you hear this story by Pepe Escobar, who's very reputable now. But back then they had to back him the fuck up and say, look, Pepe, we gonna pay you, nigga. We gonna give you a spot if you shut the fuck up about this. Because he got the straight first-hand information that Bibi sent a nuke and the nuke was shot down. Okay? We can find it. I got videos on it. But the nuke was shot down. How and why? Because come not near any man that has the mark. Any man that has any man having, I'm saying this wrong, Slovakia, let me try to find it. How do I word this? Slay utterly. That right there. Ezekiel. What was that, 6? I'm going to read this and then I'm going to get something else. Okay, this is an example of those angels. Okay. Ezekiel 9 and 3. And the glory of the power of Israel was gone up from the cherub, right, angel, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house, and he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And so to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly young and old, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Okay, so that's what these angels do. All right, they're waiting, right, to unleash this judgment. Now, let me see. I'm not sure that's exactly what I wanted, but let's see if I can get it like this. Gee, I'm gonna have to go to the phone. Angels holding I'm gonna have to go to the phone. So lock it there with me. Not trying to make this long, but it's the spirit. Let me see. Let's see. 4 angels holding back the wind. We got that one. There's got to be more than that. Let's lock it. Back the maybe it's in the looks like it might be the only one. Let's see. That's not what I want. 1 and 9. That's it. I thought there was more, but let me go back there. Yeah, so I mean, let's see. I might have to go and get that. Let me see. Let's type this in. Let's see what this brings up. Okay. Did Israel, see this happened about a year ago. Did Israel try to nuke Iran? See how you have to know about this, okay? Huge cover up. Russian Air Force wasn't the Russian Air Force, okay? This is the cover story. Is the angels shot it down. Did Israel try to nuke Iran? What is this story? Okay, here's what this story is, that there's a war going on. All right? What is this? That's X. It's going to take me to X. Let's go here. Dialogue works. This is Nema. Is this Nema? It is, huh? Look how old this is. A year old.
Yesterday I talked with Larry Johnson and we talked about this Israeli attack on Iran to respond what Iran did to Israel. We came to a conclusion that there was something so strange going on in this discussion, in this attack on Iran. First of all, Larry was pointing out that they said that 99% of the drones, missiles have been intercepted and they didn't do anything. All of a sudden, they were talking about that Iran wanted to attack the nuclear facility of Israel. This was so strange, pointing out. And the second part was the media, how the media was covering the story of Israeli attack on Iran. They were talking about it in a manner that it was a big deal, that they were attacking enormously on Iran. And today came out, Pepe Escobar wrote on his Twitter account. It says that the real story of the Israeli counter-response. The Israeli initially chose to respond with extreme force. An F-35 loaded with a nuclear bomb was sent east over Jordan. The mission, what was the mission? Cause a high-altitude detonation over Iran that would provoke a surge in the high-capacity power lines, crippling Iran's electronic grid, as well as disabling all electronic devices. It seems that as the Israeli F-35 was leaving Jordanian airspace, it was shot down by the Russian Air Force. It's so strange, Ray, when it comes to this attack, Israeli attack. They said that it's going to be a big deal. In CNN, all the Fox News, they were talking about this. And all of a sudden, we learned that there was nothing coming out of this attack. What's your take on this complexity, on this different issues, different views on this attack, on this Israeli attack on Iran?
Let me stop it right there and say this. So there's a whole lot that you don't know. This is the same war. Look at the date. Okay? Look at the date on this. 2024. That's a whole 2 years ago. A whole 2 years ago, they're talking about Netanyahu with his crazy ass tried to drop a nuke on Iran 2 years ago. And somebody shot the nuke down. These are the same people that you listen to today and you put all of your trust in. Same people. What happened to this story? Okay? Where's this story at? Okay? They're already dropping nukes, but what's happening? This is what's happening. How do you explain it? And after this, who shot the nuke down? Was it Russia? No, they know it's not Russia. This is the story they agreed on before they pulled the whole damn thing. But that's not going to make any sense that Russia shot it down. If Russia shot down a nuke that Israel dropped on Iran, what is that called? World War III. Doesn't make sense, does it? Russia didn't shoot the nuke if Israel is dropping nukes, which they clearly did, see, you got to make this story go away. This story has to go away. Why? Because that's World War III. Israel's dropping nukes on Iran? No, it was a EMP. Israel's dropping nukes on Iran? They went nuclear? Okay. What's the real story? Well, they tried to drop a nuke, and the angels did this. Okay. And after these four things, the Revelation 7 and 1, and after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor any tree, any body, these trees. Okay? You understand? The wind. They had to shoot that thing down. It's too early. They're holding back the fight that's going on. Understand that they're explaining this war. They're not telling you some of the things that are going on. This goes back 2 years. Okay? Why don't you know about it? We search the universe for intelligent life, but when it does appear, we attack it. No, we don't understand what it is. We have too many wars on Earth, and here's these idiots trying to start them in space. That's exactly it, right? Because they're trying to fight the angels. Clearly. Anyway, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at the war in heaven, right? But when you go here, right? This is them taking fire. This is them holding back the four winds. Listen to that.
Well, Nima, first I should say that I have great respect for my colleague, Larry Johnson, and my good friend, Pepe Escobar. They're both very principled, very experienced analysts of what's going on. Now, Larry addresses the lacuna here, the empty space between what Israel set out to do and what all the mainstream media was prepared to advertise 2 nights ago, and what actually happened. My God, what actually happened? Zero. There were some explosions near some Iranian city, Isfahan, Shiraz, perhaps, but nothing of any consequence. And one is left wondering, as we all were, is this it?
No. Here's what happened. Bibi went Bibi. And they all saw what happened. And they had to come up with a story. The story was Russia. And then when they couldn't agree on that, they said, all of them collected. How did this story just go away? And why? Okay, well, because it went up top. Okay, when you have to start explaining what's really going on out there and what these things really are, and that these are the angels, right? When you have to explain this and what's really going on, and they know who they're firing on. They know what is before them. They know the battle that is before them. Space Force and all that, they've been preparing for this. They ain't going to tell you what they're doing. Okay? And when they do, when something like this happens, right, they have to tell you something completely outlandish. They can't come out and say, well, these are the angels and these are God. And we're the bad guy down here and they're coming to get. They're not going to tell you that. When they put something out and they have these guys come out and talk about it, even they are compromised. Whether they are, you don't get to come out and say what we're saying. and get paid, which is the truth. No, you got to be on their side at some level, whether compartmentalized or not, and be pushing forth something other than the truth. Oh, well, we don't really know what's going on. No, we know what's going on. We know what this is. Okay? In this instance where they were fired upon and it bounced off, these are the angels with defensive measures, right? Over here, they're stopping you motherfuckers from killing each other. Okay, holding back the four winds because it ain't time yet. Time is coming, but not yet. Right? There's gonna come a time, and there's the time. That's when here's why they're stopping it. That's why I got that. So let me go back one more time. Where were we? Ezekiel 9. Right? Why are they holding back the four winds? The answer is in here. Ezekiel 9 and 6. Slay utterly young and old. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Because this has not been accomplished yet. Right? Let me see. What is that? Give me a minute and let me think of that. Salakia. But this is why. All right? It's coming to me. Then shall that what? Then shall the end come? That's not it. That's not it, is it? Yeah, this is it. Okay, so this is what's going on. Matthew 24 and 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Okay? They got to be sealed first. Right? Where did I get this? The Spirit. That's the Spirit working right there, Salakia. Because I wasn't even thinking about this. Let me see. Here are the angels doing what they're supposed to do. 9 and 4. Revelation 9, let me read 3. Salakia. Salakia. I just got to get this straight. Okay, so I'll read 3. Revelation 9 and 3, and there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. What does that go back to? It goes back to those angels. Okay. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented. Okay, that goes into something else. But what I'm saying is that, okay, and it was commanded them that they should not, where's the power? And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power. And, as the scorpions of the earth have power. Okay, so basically the spirit, there was a spirit put on them to win that power. Okay. What spirit came over them? The spirit that was on them angels that went out to slay those men that didn't have the seal of God in their foreheads that we spoke of, right? Going back to Ezekiel, all right? Okay, so death angel, if you will. Okay, sometimes you got the actual angels out doing the work themselves, or the Most High might put this spirit of a death angel on you, right? And that, I mean, this is talking about World War I. Okay, first understand that this is talking about World War I. One woe is past. Let's talk about World War I up here. So what was going on? The angels were there. World War II, they call them Foo Fighters. The angels were there conducting the war. World War I, they were there. And here they are. The angels were there, putting the spirit on certain men to live. Okay, putting the spirit on certain men to do certain things, to be like the Red Baron, for example, or if you wound up being some war hero, the Most High put the spirit on that person at that time to do something heroic. All right, why? Because they're in the war. So when you come back and all hell breaks loose, but the angels ain't there fighting in this war. Come on. Now
They try to board one of these ships. This is a catastrophic failure for the Trump administration. They spent days bloviating about immediate elimination of any ship that defied them.
Again, there are instances. We could go to How Shall We Do? Okay, let's get that real quick. I'm not saying that this happened, but this is war, is it not? How shall we do? What happened? I'm going to show you. This is a military situation. How shall we do? Fucking military out here. 6:15. Let's set it up. Elisha captures blinded Syrians. Okay. Basically, the king of Syria sent fucking an army after Elisha, right? from 15. 2 Kings 6 and 15. And when the servant of the man of the Most High was risen early and had gone forth, behold, an host, an army, compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servants said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? What the hell are we going to do with this army that's surrounding us? And he answered, right now, here's what I want you to take note of. This is an army. And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about. Big old mothership with fighter chariots. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, now, I want you to pay close attention what's going on here. And said unto the Lord, and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. What does this mean? Set up a cloaking device. Smite these people, and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, This is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the men whom you seek. But he led them to Samaria. So, smite these people. What does that mean? Made them invisible. Smite these people with blindness. They couldn't see them. Made them invisible. Okay? He made them invisible. Strike this army with blindness. So he struck them with blindness. Blind. It's all going to read the same, huh? They couldn't see. Made them invisible. Yeah? Is this blind right here? Hallucinations. Is that blindness? Strike this people with hallucinations. Is that blindness? Dimness of vision. Okay, is that blindness? Made them invisible. There are instances of invisibility in the scriptures is what I'm talking about. Okay? Hallucination. That's seeing something. Seeing nothing is seeing something, right? You're seeing an empty room. Right? Dimness of vision. I can see everything except for them. All right? So the angels are doing that. We go, why are you talking about that? Because of this. How are they able to just sail right by them? You got to understand, the angels are in there conducting this war.
By the knowledge of what awaits them if they actually try to board one of these ships. This is a catastrophic failure for the Trump administration. They spent days bloviating about immediate elimination of any ship that defied them. Instead, what did we get? American warships floating impotently, as the Iranian economy proved that the straits are, for all intents and purposes, under the operational control of the Islamic Republic. The significance
Why? Because the Most High is with them.
of this cannot be overstated. It is not just a logistical win. It is a psychological castration of the American military threat in the Persian Gulf. This defiance sets the stage for the diplomatic hammer blow that followed. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tehran has been crystal clear. There will be no ceasefire extension. The word ceasefire itself has become a dirty word in Tehran's corridors of power because it is a Western trick. A period of respite for the Israelis to rearm and for the Americans to reposition while the siege on Iranian civilians continues. Iran's position, articulated by Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and backed by the nation's military leadership, is that any further dialogue with the United States is contingent upon a comprehensive and permanent cessation of all hostilities across the entire Middle East.
All right. Anyway, there are two parts to this, right? What about this part? The von Braun part. Okay? We can't count
Does
this.
California need a
We
MAGA
can't count
governor?
that part out.
Absolutely not. But businesses,
All right? That part is inextricably linked to what's going on. All right? This is the same war. Off the coast of Yemen, who fired that missile? Hellfire, we know who fired it. Okay? There's only two people that got hellfires, Israel and the U.S. Who's involved in this? Who's fighting? October 30th, 2024. How long has this been going on? All right. So, when you think you understand what's going on in the Persian Gulf or whatever, guess what? Unless this is part of the equation, you don't know what's going on. Okay? Here's what's going on ultimately, and I'll close. Somebody's conducting this war. Who created war? Who's the ultimate warrior? Right? The man of war. Joel. Here's what's going on. Joel 3:2. I also will gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is in the Middle East, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. We read that right here. God said he was going to gather the armies of the world. That's all of this. World War III. Where? In the Middle East. So here's what's going on. The Most High, right, said, China, you got to go over there. Russia, you got to go over there. Over where? You got to go over there and block. These fools are over here acting a damn fool in the Gulf. So here comes China, and here comes here comes China, and here comes Russia. They got to get involved.
And then, with a precision that will shock the world, to turn those multi-billion-dollar assets into artificial reefs at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. To understand why Iran is so confident in this false hope strategy, you only have to look at the sky over Tehran. It was one of the most devastating and poetic rebukes to American warmongering in modern history. For weeks, Donald Trump and his propaganda machine in the U.S. media told the world that the Iranian Air Force was gone, that American air superiority was absolute, that they had bombed the Islamic Republic back to the Stone Age. It turns out the American taxpayer just financed the world's most expensive paint stripping operation. The American and Israeli air forces have been bombing decoys, literal drawings and wooden mock-ups of fighter jets, as Iranian squadrons, real, metal, combat-ready aircraft, took to the skies.
Okay, so they're big up in Iran. But Iran has Russia and China backing them right now. Okay? And that's what's going to, overall, that's what's going to get them through this. So I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. But there are two parts to this war, which is going on right now. If one part has been hidden, it's in your face. There are 10 missing or casualties in the space part of the war. They sent a mission to the moon, what was that about? Okay. That's about Blue Beam. They have, because they're getting their ass kicked over there, they got to send up a distraction. Blue Beam, here it comes. Right? So what you got to do is you just, continue to be circumspect, and we'll continue to, report. I got to do a World War III daily update, but I wanted to go a little further than I normally do because, I mean, when you say the war, right, it's a celestial war too, all right? And we know who's going to win, but you got to understand what's going on. When you go back to this, all right, you got to know about this. This needs to, they're already nuking each other, and you don't know about it. And they're hiding it. How come nobody's talking about this now? Right?
Is this Israel's retaliation for over 300 missiles, drones, ballistic missiles? It seemed really strange, and one explanation would be, how it looks like maybe finally Israel listened to Joe Biden, took them seriously, and they said we won't support an offensive against Iran, and maybe this is it. This is the best they wanted to do. Well, that wasn't very satisfying either. So now we have this report from Pepe Escobar. Now, I have to tell you again that Pepe is the best, okay? And he has sources that people lust after, okay? Now, this particular source, and it appears to be just one source, it doesn't appear to be Israeli or Iranian, or it could be Iranian, I suppose, that would be Asian, but it's one source, and it's quite explosive. Now, let's assume that Pepe is right, and that the Israelis loaded a nuclear bomb to have an EMP attack on Iran to dismember all their electrical facilities, and they were shot down by a Russian missile. Well, we're going to know more about that in the days ahead. I mean, it's certain that this kind of thing can't happen without us knowing about one way or another. Okay, so I think we have to postpone judgment on this, the more so since it is so strange, so explosive in both senses of the word, and it's based on one source. So
it makes perfect sense with Netanyahu, what he's doing. This dude is conducting a whole fucking genocide. He got mad because he was embarrassed that first time. He damn sure did that. What the fuck are you talking about? That makes perfect sense. And then for what the aftermath of that, and it seemed like nothing happened. What happened was everybody knows that the angels got involved, so everybody stood down. Everybody knows about this. Stop acting stupid. What is this? Everybody knows about it. Everybody's military knows about it. We ain't talking about that, though, are we? We're setting up for some distraction and a hoax and a blue beam, but we ain't talking about what's really going on in the war. Scriptures are, right? Anyway, we're going to end it right there. With that, we pray that the elect ratified you, brothers and few sisters. Shabbat shalom.